and I was in jail for a few hours. When I got there, it kind of like lightened up because I just kind of cooled off a little bit. I was talking to the people booking me. Everyone was super kind. I was in my jail cell for a while, and
he goes to jail. Zach Bryan's a celebrity. By the time he's getting booked into jail, all the cops, all the jailers know this is Zach Bryan, the huge country music star. I know who Zach Bryan is, and I don't listen to country. I like his music. Zach Bryan's badass. So now he's saying they're being super kind to me. You're a celebrity, bro. If you weren't a celebrity, it wouldn't be going down like this.
It's taking so long.
Well, it's not any of your business. If you need to get back in your truck because you're interfering with officer discharge of duties right now. Either get back in your truck or go to jail. I don't care which.
I'll go to jail. I'm done.
All right. Put your handcuffs back.
Something hang on. This is the second time it's happened in 3 days.
Well, he just got caught for speeding. I'd write him a citation.
I know, I get it. This is my security guard. I'm just waiting for him. It's taking a long time. I was just curious, sir. I'm sorry.
Well, hey,
I'm not trying to be an
I tried to give you an option to get back in your truck. You said you're ready to go to jail. I said you're interfering with officer.
I know, I've been a smart ass. I shouldn't have been. I apologize.
All right.
Truly.
Go back here and have a seat.
Yes, sir.
hey everybody, me and Jack are halfway to New York. He is slumped out, farting everywhere. I got 7 Red Bulls in me, and I just wanted to be completely transparent with everyone who listens to my music about what happened yesterday, with me getting arrested and everything, because I don't want the internet to do what the internet does and, like, I don't know, make stuff up.
I'm gonna watch this Zach Bryan video, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what your constitutional rights are and where Zach Bryan made some gigantic mistakes.
So I want to start by saying I have to deal with the legalities of it. I did go to jail. They didn't play favorites, and I was an idiot today, and my decisions did not reflect who I was as a person, and I just want to make that clear, and I should have been smarter about it.
So they didn't play favorites, and you were an idiot today. So first of all, if they can arrest you and you have status, they really want to arrest you. Thank God you didn't say, "Don't you know I'm Zach Bryan?" And then the second part of that, then you said that you really acted like an idiot. Are you sure that you did? Or are you just dealing with the publicity of being arrested and that there's so many bootlickers in our country? Your decisions did reflect who you are as a person. They absolutely did. And I know that because you stood up for yourself. And then as soon as you dealt with the public backlash, or the anticipated public backlash, you then decided to say you were sorry and that you acted like an idiot. I disagree.
But I just want to tell you guys the whole timeline, the whole story, so there's no confusion. Around 3 days ago, I was driving through this small town in Oklahoma, and this is the beginning of all of it. And I drive by this cop. I was going like 4 or 5 over. He pulls me over. He comes to my window. First thing he asks for is license, registration, and my address.
He asked you for your license, your registration, and your address. Immediately, you reach up to your visor where you have your trifold and you have your laminated driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance on a laminated card. If he asked you for your driver's license, your registration, and your address, I've given you my driver's license. Here it is right there. It says right here on your trifold. I've given you everything I'm required to by law. There should have never been a conversation. When he asked you for your driver's license, your registration, and your address, you should have immediately pled the Fifth Amendment. I plead the Fifth Amendment. Well, I need to know your address. Everything I need to provide by law is in the slip. Don't ask me where I'm going. Don't ask me where I'm coming from. You got put in torture cuffs the way you did it. When the cop asks you for your driver's license, your registration, and your address, it's because you have out-of-state plates. You simply give him your license, your registration, and your proof of insurance, and then you invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent.
And I told him, I said, hey man, I don't really feel comfortable giving you my address. I'm a musician and I'm not comfortable with it. So he says, if you don't give me your address.
Did you hear what he said? He said he asked me for my address and I tell him I feel uncomfortable because I'm a musician. Why are you saying that to him? Zach, why are you saying that to him? You're telling him that he's making you feel uncomfortable? He's going to make you feel a lot more uncomfortable after that because he's going to put you in torture cuffs. If he says, I want your address, everything I need to provide by law is right there. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. I didn't see the video you released, Zach. Did you record that interaction, Zach? I'll bet you didn't. What's the first thing we do when we have an interaction with a cop or we think that the cop is going to have an interaction with us? We start recording.
I'm going to have to take you to jail. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to give you my address. So he tells me to step out of the vehicle. He puts handcuffs on me. And I'm like, man, what the hell is going on? Why are you doing this?
He pulls him out of the car. He puts the torture cuffs on him. And he says, man, why are you doing this? And he says, well, you're not giving me your address. That's not a reason for detainment, Mr. Bryan. You have a federal civil rights lawsuit you could now file. You not giving him your address is not part of the protocols of you being pulled over. He violated your civil rights. If you had already given him your driver's license, that's all that's required to give him by law, Mr. Bryan. You have a federal civil rights lawsuit. I don't know. Was it caught on video?
He's like, why are you not giving me your address? So we talked about it. I explained to him why. I ended up giving him my address. I ended up like abiding by what he was saying. We kept talking. He finally took my handcuffs off.
We talked about it on his terms. You out of the car, you in torture cuffs, you going through pain. And then I gave him my address. So he tortured you. He violated your constitutional rights by detaining you because you wouldn't give him your address.
He gave me a warning because I wasn't going too fast or anything. And then he let me go because I just started respecting him and being cordial.
He let me go because I started respecting him and being cordial. Brother, my brother, what the hell are you talking about? Because I started respecting him and being... You started licking boots, bro. You started saying, oh, yes, sir. Oh, no, sir. I understand why you have to have my address, sir. And the reason why you did that, Zach, is because you were being tortured, bro. You were being tortured. Those handcuffs he put on, nice and tight. He's even going to say it in a second that the handcuffs were too tight. You started bootlicking.
But I think it just frustrated me a lot because I didn't know if I had a right to refuse giving him my address or not, but I did, and who knows? But
who knows? I know. You did have the right to not give him your address. I'm telling you, Zach, I'm a constitutional law scholar. I'm telling you, you don't have to verbally give him any information if you've given him your license, your registration, and your proof of insurance. You don't have to give him anything else. Why are you talking to a pig who wants to put you in torture cuffs and wants to take you to jail? Why are you talking? I teach this to thousands of people. Every month, thousands of people use my methods.
That happened. Fast forward to today. I wake up and I tell my security guard, hey man, I'm going to drive to Boston today. So, to see the Birds play. So we're driving to Boston. We get like 40 minutes away from my house. We're going through Veneta. He's behind me and I see him getting pulled over. So I'm like, oh man. So I go around the block and I come and I pull back up next to him. And I'm just sitting there. I didn't get out of the vehicle or anything. I'm just sitting there waiting on him. 10 to 15 minutes goes by and I get out of the car. I'm like, man, why is this, what is taking so long? And I was gonna smoke a cigarette. The cop comes up to me and he's like, sir, get back in your vehicle. And I'm like, I'm not the one getting pulled over. Please, like, he's like, get back in your vehicle or I'm gonna have to take you to jail.
Zach gets out of the car. I'm not clear if he walked up to the cop and asked him why it's taking so long. It doesn't sound like it. And the cop says, get back in your car. Zach, in my trifold, you get on delete Lawz. There's a case law on here called Tesh Lines versus Danforth. You can stop anywhere that you feel you need to stop. Stopping is an incident to travel. If you can't stop, then you can't start. If your freedom is based on you going from point A to point B, and only between those 2 points, then you're no longer free. This is from the 1943 case of Teschlines versus Danforth. You had every right to be outside of your car. The moment that cop walked up to you and said, hey, get back in your car, you should have pulled your trifold out and said, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. If you want to pull up Teschlines in the trifold and show it to him, that's what you should have done, Zach.
And like a dumbass, I said, take me to jail? What do you mean? And he was like, take you to jail. And I was like, damn. So I get too lippy with him. He brings me over to his car, and I just didn't help my situation at all. I felt like a child. It was ridiculous. It was immature, and I just pray everyone knows that I don't think I'm above the law. I was just being disrespectful, and I shouldn't have been, and it was my mistake.
So he grabs you, takes you over to his car, puts you in torture cuffs, and then you say that you were being disrespectful. Why are you being disrespectful? Because you're questioning why this is taking so long and why you can't be there. You have to bow down and kiss boots. You have to let them do whatever they want. You didn't help your situation. You're now being a coward, Zach, because you're afraid of the backlash. You're afraid other people will say, oh, he doesn't respect cops and they're not going to like you anymore. Zach, it wasn't that you weren't respecting cops, it's that you were standing up for your rights. That's what this was about. This was about you standing up for your rights and not just bowing down and licking boots. And now you're worried about public perception, so you're saying, hey, I don't want anybody to think that I am above the law, that I think I'm above the law. Of course they don't think that, Zach. Over half of our country feels exactly like I do. Over half, 52%. Zach, we all know what they do. You stood up for your rights. The video you should have made today should have been about you defiantly not accepting this, and can you file a federal civil rights lawsuit for them violating your rights? That's what today's video should have been about, Zach.
So he gets me in these cuffs, man, and they're tight, and he puts me in his front seat.
So don't skip over that. Zach says he gets me in the cuffs and they're tight. So he's torturing you with torture cuffs, Zach. You've been illegally detained. You have every right to stop on the road anywhere you want. It's an incident to travel. It's the most on-point case we have. That you can go and stop anywhere you want. It's just, this is getting me so frustrated. Every word he says is another step toward authoritarianism, another step toward bowing down and licking boots.
And we're just all going back and forth. I'm like, man, these cuffs hurt. He's like, they're not supposed to be comfortable. He was just being a cop, you know?
Now it becomes contentious because this cop has stopped them for no reason. He has likely, both of them are in torture cuffs. It's going back and forth. And the cop, he says, is just being a cop. No, bro. The cop is being a jackboot thug pig because the Supreme Court has given them all of our rights. All of our rights. Zach, I can't even listen to what you're saying. It's so astronomical what you're saying.
And so I'm just getting more angry and angry, which is like the worst thing you could possibly do. So 15 minutes goes by, they finally let me out of the vehicle, and I'm like just mouthing off like an idiot, like an actual child.
So he's just getting more and more angry because he's in torture cuffs, and he's hurting, and the cuffs are really tight. He's probably going through serious pain. It's not a joke, it's serious. You shouldn't have been in torture cuffs, Zach. 15 minutes goes by, they finally let you out of torture cuffs and out of the vehicle, and you're just mouthing off like an idiot? You mean you're rightfully indignant? You're rightfully upset that you were even put in torture cuffs to begin with or detained? Zach, you have a federal civil rights lawsuit if you caught it on camera.
I'm like, man, someone's got to get a hold of you guys. This is like, why are you using your authority like this? This is so wrong. When in reality, they were just doing their jobs. I was upset.
No, Zach. In reality, he was acting like a jackboot thug pig. In reality, he violated your constitutional rights. In reality, you were illegally detained. In reality, you didn't do anything wrong. In reality, that cop violated your rights. And this is not America. This is a tyrannical police state, prison state, death state, Zach. And for the love of God, I hope your tune changes.
And so he looks at me, he says, hey man, I'm going to tell you this, and if you, like, don't interrupt me. And I was like, well, after you're done, I'm going to say my piece. He's like, okay. He started talking, I interrupted him, naturally, because I was just angry. So he said, I'm going to take you to jail, and he took me to jail.
Zach, you were arrested for interrupting that cop, and he took you to jail. If Zach had had his trifold on him, he could have showed him the 1987 case of Houston versus Hill. You have every right to interrupt a cop. You don't have to let him talk over you. You have every right to interrupt him. It's the upholding of your First Amendment right to speech. And instead, Zach, of you having the trifold, you presenting the information in a laminated card, you start apologizing and backstepping when you stood up for yourself initially. You didn't have the trifold on you, so you couldn't tell him the 1987 case of Houston versus Hill and show it to him on a piece of paper.
And I was in jail for a few hours. When I got there, it kind of like lightened up because I just kind of cooled off a little bit. I was talking to the people booking me. Everyone was super kind. I was in my jail cell for a while. And
he goes to jail. Zach Bryan's a celebrity. By the time he's getting booked into jail, all the cops, all the jailers know this is Zach Bryan, the huge country music star. I know who Zach Bryan is, and I don't listen to country. I like his music. Zach Bryan's badass. So now he's saying they're being super kind to me. You're a celebrity, bro. If you weren't a celebrity, it wouldn't be going down like this.
The cop and me eventually shook hands. I ended up apologizing online because I realized that my actions didn't reflect who I was as a person.
You ended up shaking hands with the cop who tortured you and wrongfully arrested you. And you ended up apologizing to him online for him arresting you and violating your rights.
And that was kind of the night ended okay. I have to deal with the legalities of it when I go back home.
The night did not end okay, Zach. Tell the truth. You paced back and forth. You were worried about your public perception. You were mad that your rights were violated. You were mad that that cop got to walk on you. But the other voice said you have to just let it go. You can't fight back. You have to just let it go. You don't want your fans to abandon you. You have a lot of country fans, so that means you have a lot of these people who are bootlickers. So you're going through this back and forth, and you're like, I'm just going to apologize and say I'm sorry and say that I was an idiot and I acted like a child, Zach. Meanwhile, though, there are real freedom fighters out there fighting for you, fighting for our freedom. And you, my friend, just sat on a pole. What an embarrassment.
The people of Veneta were super kind. I just wanted to tell the story and get it out there before someone blew it out of proportion. I was just an idiot, and I'll take the fall for it. I'm a grown man, and I shouldn't have behaved like that, and it won't happen again. I love you guys. Thanks for defending me online and stuff. I don't really need it. I just shouldn't have did what I did. And the world moves on. Tomorrow's gonna come anyway. And Jack's poop, man. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you. Bye.
None of this would have happened. Absolutely none of it. You wouldn't be making a video today. You wouldn't be making a video yesterday. You wouldn't be making a video at all. If the jackboot thug pig pulled you over for doing 5 miles an hour over, and you simply presented your license, registration, and proof of insurance, and he said, what's your address? And then, Zach, if you had followed my step-by-step tutorial to immediately invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent, you wouldn't have had to argue with him about giving him your address, and you wouldn't have had to give him your address. Zach, it was a total failure because you didn't have a trifold in your car and you don't have your license, registration, and proof of insurance on a laminated card ready to go. Had Zach had these things, none of these things would have happened to him. Absolutely none of them. Go to my website right now, DeleteLawz.com. Get a trifold. Get one I print for $30 and I'll ship to you, or get the $9 one that you print at home. And then get your license, registration, and proof of insurance on a laminated card. Your address and everything you have to provide to the cop by law is right there. And then when he asks you for any additional information, I don't care what he asks you. Do you know how fast you were going? Where are you heading? Nothing. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Step out of the car. They made him step out of the car and put him in torture cuffs anyway. It's not like it went better for him had he invoked his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. He got arrested, he got picked on, he got torture cuffed, and then he had to shake hands with the same pig that did that to him. Oh my God, Zach. Zach Bryan, this is your video message. For the love of God, get a trifold in your car. Get a trifold in your car. Invoke your Fifth Amendment right to remain silent immediately. That's it. Delete Lawz. I'm out. See you on the next one. Later, Gators.